All right, all right, all right. Welcome, welcome, welcome once again to the People's Podcast, as A Money would say. It is at the Roundtable Podcast Show. What's going on, family? I'm looking at all these melanin faces on here that's positive. Kings and queens, I heard earlier. Thank you for that. Family, what's going on?
What's
Don't
up,
be shy.
CD?
Step on up,
All
man. This
right.
is going to be a good one.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hey, Money,
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
man, the introductions need to be made. Make them happen.
Yeah, yeah. This is Adrian A Money Biddle checking in with you.
Why do they call
And
him A Money? Why do they call him A Money?
Kate, call him A Money because when he bring us the facts, you can bank
Bank
on
on
it.
them. Yes, indeed.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
hey, I still got a shirt. I still got a shirt coming for y'all too with that on. Giving credit where credit is due.
It's gonna be hot, man. It's gonna be hot.
And our sister that runs this show also,
Yes, yes.
Miss
Yeah.
Melissa. Care to do your
AKA,
introduction?
you know it. Hey, family, it's your girl Melissa Bartlett, AKA Pitbull. Glad to be here. Glad to be amongst my brothers again. Glad to be with our guests today, and I'm just ready for the show. I've been looking for this for.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Here you come. Bam. You kind of froze up, sis. So I had to bring you back in. Bam.
I'm
There you go.
sorry.
That's all right.
My bad.
So yes, you were so eloquently saying, y'all know this Pitbull in the dress, this special guest that is about to come on board. And Melissa, I would be remiss because you brought him to us, okay? And I'm like reading his bio and such. I'm astounded, and we need this. So I want to thank you for actually bringing this to the forefront for our family to see and hear about. Go ahead, sis.
So, family, tonight we have no one better, the one, the only Royce Richardson on our
Wow.
show. He is a financial advisor, he is a community leader, he is a king that is implementing into the Atlanta public school systems about financial literacy and legacy and promoting generational wealth. Things that you need to know that a lot of time our neighborhoods, our group of people, our communities aren't privy to. So also he is one of my childhood friends. He and I
Yeah.
went to middle school together. Shout out to Bellingraph.
Yeah.
And he currently resides in Atlanta, but we got the gump for our roots. So I just want to introduce Royce Richardson to you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, I appreciate the intro. Melissa and I are good friends. We go way back to, of course, junior high. And again, I'm from Montgomery, Alabama originally. I live here in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta 20 years now. I am married with three beautiful kids, beautiful wife of, let's see, 14, I think 14 years now.
Make sure you get it right.
So, yeah, I gotta get her. She's not in here, so I can guess on it a little bit. But I've been in this business for 15 years now. I've had my agency for 10 years. It's been a great ride. It's been a passion, coming from humble beginnings, very, very humble beginnings, and having the chance to get exposed to wealthy people, how they think, how they work, to manage money alongside other advisors who were managing portfolios of millions. So I got a chance to see the habits of the advisors, as also the people who have that money. It's not always that the millionaire that you see executive. It's that millionaire next door as well. And having read many books over the years on finance, investments, entrepreneurship, and how to become better at my craft and better at life, just as a business person and a family man, put me on this journey. So that's where we are.
And Royce, didn't your firm just get an award? Was it last year or this year you guys were awarded an award?
Yeah, let's try to see which one. We've been recognized a few times just for our community work at public schools. Uh, we've been allowed to speak with Atlanta Public Schools for the last 4 years in a partnership. My wife is a school teacher, but not in Atlanta Public Schools. And I just found a passion in working with teachers. But one of the things too, my goal was to work with African Americans. Just to be frank, for our community needed more information, and Atlanta Public Schools has a large population of minority teachers. So when I would go to schools and talk to them about what they were doing currently financially, and even a lot of my wife's friends, by the time it was time to retire, they had not put anything additional in place or was just not prepared. And so I found a niche there. But we work throughout the community in the city of Atlanta. I have clients throughout the country. Some are executives, like I have an executive client at Nike and some other big companies. But some of them are person at the grocery store who stopped me and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you." I said, "Great, let's talk." So it just our goal is to help empower our community.
Awesome. So I guess, guys, you want to start off the questions or?
No doubt. Shouts out to Latosha Carson, Black business owner and entrepreneur. She just joined us on the Roundtable podcast show. She's going to have some questions. Looks like Terry Digsby just joined us on At the Roundtable. Thank you for joining us, my daughter. I appreciate that. Please share. We have this financial whiz on here right now. All right. And this is the time for you to ask the questions and get involved, because one of the things that we're lacking right now is understanding our finances. And a lot of times they don't teach it in school. And sometimes mama and daddy don't take time to educate you about generational wealth.
Absolutely.
Here's a brother that's here to do it.
Right. So absolutely.
I'll talk about a few things, and feel free to stop me at any time and questions. Been in this business a long time, and the funny thing is, I have a partner of mine, a good buddy, works for I think it's Merrill Lynch, one of the very, very large firms, and he and I talk about just dealing with our community, the African American community, when it comes to wealth management. And we joke on how our first few years in the business, we were doing okay money-wise, but we were not saving. And we were doing okay to have this experience, but it was still new to us. And it took us some years to start to save money, to budget, to really understand what it means to have money, especially when you didn't grow up with a lot of money.
Right.
And then at some point you hit that threshold and say, okay, I'm older now. I've bought the things, the cars and the house and the things that I wanted. Now I have to really sit down and put a plan in place. And so, it was a process even for us to begin to set up investments and do our own planning for ourselves. But I do remember an experience that I had when I was working at a firm here in Atlanta before I started my own. I was with another advisor, and he was a junior advisor. And I remember we were starting at the same time in that firm. And I remember he went to, within about 2 or 3 weeks, he said, "Hey man, I'm going to be out for about a week. I'm getting married and I'll be back. I just wanted to let you know." So I remember he comes back about a week later and he has about $80,000 to invest. And then he goes on to talk about all these other things. I said, "Well, man, where did you get that $80,000 from? Whose money is that?" He said, "That's mine." I said, "Yours?" He's about 23, 24. So yeah, well, at the wedding, my family gave about 40,000 and her family gave about 40,000. So that gave us a start.
Wow.
I said, "Wow." I said, "Are you going to buy a house with that?" He said, "Well, no, we live in my grandmother's house. So we're just saving money right now." All of a sudden, I began to process the disparity in our lives. At that point, I'm working. I have to earn a check. And I need everything I make to live and to support my family at our new house that we bought. And every check that he earns is extra. on top of the money he was given because he doesn't have a mortgage.
Right.
So that was no way that we would keep on pace if we were trying to save the same amount of money at the same rate and grow at the same rate, because of there was wealth left in form of a home and also what was given at his wedding. So just seeing and experiencing that, I've had a chance to start looking at money differently. And I want to be prepared to help my children in that capacity when they get of age.
Yes.
When I talk about retirement planning now, is not necessarily about retirement. When someone's, 40, so, well, yeah, you're going to retire at age 65 or 70. Like, well, that don't make sense. That's a long time from now.
Right.
Or someone's 30, they're like, man, I don't really want to hear that. But when you start talking about saving for opportunity, now that's different. And someone 40 may want to buy a second home, an investment property, an Airbnb to rent out. Someone in their 30s may want to start a business. So it's just how you frame things and having a proper why you do things. And then the other thing is always preparing for disaster. It happens. How do you prepare for it? Like what could happen in the coming year? How do we get ready for that?
So let me ask you this then, Mr. Richardson,
Sure.
because a lot of people that I hear are unsure of the amount of money that it would take to actually work with an advisor. So is it, we needing to bring a certain amount to the table? I also hear that people say that I can't even hardly build a savings account. So what would you say to those individuals to actually get them on board to actually start trying to build up their wealth?
Oh man, thank you. Very, very good question. So the way that works is that there are different type of advisors out there. Some advisors deal with budgets. There are some advisors that you'll go to that help you develop a budget. I'm not that advisor, right? And then there are other advisors out there that deal with wealth management, mainly money. Some deal with building around insurance plans. I deal mainly with the money and the insurance side. Now, when it comes with your individual practice, depending on where the company that they are with, you may have to bring a certain amount of money to the table. For instance, if you go to a Merrill Lynch or some of the larger firms, they would say, well, our minimums are $250 to really work with you. Anything less than that, you'll get a 1-800 number. At the bank, there may be a minimum of 50 or 100 to 100,000. If you go to some firms, and like the firms that I came from, when I was with American Express Financial Advisors, which is now Ameriprise, and a firm in Buckhead, which was Waddell and Reed, you're a fee-based planner. So as a fee-based planner, we also charge a fee to sit with us. And then we get paid based upon the money that we manage. So in those scenarios, the fee, if someone has very little money, could be $250 to $500 to do a financial plan, on up to thousands. Also, if I get paid on how I manage your money, so unless you have a certain amount of money, then it doesn't make sense for me. I eliminated all those things when I started my firm. With EIAT Wealth Management, if you're working with me or one of my advisors, you're not going to be charged a financial planning fee unless the assets warranted. So if you need complex planning, like some of our business owners or executive planners, planning clients, then we do charge a fee because we have my business partner is a CFP. And so there are certain things we have to do to make sure we're compliant. But for the average everyday person who wants to have a consultation, we will talk to you. It doesn't cost you any money. We can help you set up a basic retirement plan like an IRA or a Roth IRA. If you don't have insurance in place, we can talk to you about life insurance, help you build a portfolio there. And we do not charge an upfront planning fee. I did not want to isolate my clients where if I'm looking, I see that you have, $2,000 in your savings account. Now I'm asking you for a $500 planning fee. That just didn't make sense to me. I didn't ever want to do that to anyone. So we're here to talk to you. Every consultation is free. We're not going to charge anything up front. So don't cost you anything to talk to an advisor with us.
Now, do you have, you say you have people across the country. So how does that look, or how does that work with having someone that's not in Atlanta that can't maybe come into the office?
So we do Zoom calls now. So even when the office, we were holding normal office hours, probably only 25% of our clients ever really came to the office. A lot of times we went to them at their jobs at lunch, or we met at a coffee house or Starbucks or somewhere. And it was social conversation. And they may have come to the office when we were presenting a financial plan, or things were, we dealt with some confidential financial information. But still only 25 to 30% of our clients came into the office. Today, we do most of our presentations or consultations over the phone via Zoom.
That's good.
That's
really
good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Shouts
pretty
out.
sure you'll have some people, hopefully after this, to reach out to you. So
Sure, that'd be great.
Funny you mentioned that. Latosha Carson just hit us and said, I definitely need a financial advisor. So we're going to definitely make sure that your information, we're going to announce it several times throughout this podcast right here so people will know and contact you. Charlie Toods just joined us. She said, this makes sense. Free consultation is a key for a lot of people who may not know much information about financial advisors or plans. So she definitely does that.
Yeah, we just want to give value. The big thing was, growing up, financial advisors never came to our community. I learned once I got into business what a financial advisor was. We knew about the insurance agents, but no one in my community, a financial advisor, never knocked on my door. And it's only a few of us in the industry who are still licensed advisors, very few.
What's up?
Mr. Richardson, now I know that your firm also does life insurance as well.
Yes, sir.
Can you reiterate to our fans right now the importance of taking out life insurance?
All right. So life insurance is so important. When I got into this business to become a financial advisor, I thought everything was about having stocks, bonds, mutual funds, having this huge investment portfolio. But a lot of the coursework, you're going to find out that the basis of a financial plan is life insurance. Life insurance gives you an opportunity to protect your future earning potential. Nowhere else where you can write a check for $100 and buy $500,000 of monies, future monies, in the event that anything happens. And so that's the importance of life insurance. I have great intentions while I'm here for my kids and my family. But if I am not here, my intentions of paying off my home, paying for their college, and all the things I intended are still taken care of because I have life insurance in place. So that's the importance of life insurance. Some people say, well, I just want enough to cover me. That's up to you. But I believe in leaving a legacy. When we study life insurance, most of the legacies that have been left to families, a lot of it's been left to the tax-free benefit of life insurance. When the wealthy settle their estates, someone who's extremely wealthy, when they die and there's an estate tax due of 40% that has to be paid in cash, they don't do it by liquidating the estate. They pay that money through life insurance. And so that's one of the best ways to leave a legacy for your family. It has multiple purpose uses, and we can always get into those, but I highly encourage everyone to carry life insurance. Yes.
Well, check this out, Mr. Richardson. Charlie Toods just mentioned in a comment, she said also the importance of knowing what happens when you need to file a claim. She said, I've watched insurance companies take huge advantages of families. And it kind of goes back to, like you mentioned earlier, when we were coming up and our parents, of course, it was interesting. They always paid on furniture, and the insurance man used to always come around and collect that amount, and then what ends up happening is later on when it's time to quote unquote cash out or have to borrow against it, or if something was to happen, unfortunately, in the family, Can you shed a little light in regards to that before? Looks like Latosha just asked the question as well, but can you shed a little light on that as well?
Yeah, so you asking that question really strikes a chord with me on so many levels. There's certain joy there, and there's anger there too. I'll share the anger part of it. Is that being in this business, I studied life insurance and some of the companies that started life insurance and what they use life insurance for. They, when it first started, in many cases, life insurance was to insure the life of slaves. It was for property. And then you go back to the 60s, 70s, and some of the 80s where they came around selling those policies where we were paying a premium every week. They were only selling burial policies to our families. Yep. They were only selling $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 policies.
Yep.
When our families deserved, we could have bought for the $50 we were paying at $15 or $10 a week. Mom and them could have bought $1 million policy at that time, or a $500,000 policy, but they didn't offer those in our community. So the industry took advantage of our families. And you're right, when it was time to pay or borrow from the agent was gone. So you had people who were servicing our community that did not have our community's best interest. They were there for the money.
Right.
With my agency, we are primarily African American, and I set it up primarily to serve our community. We will service everyone at the same level, but I want to personally make sure that there was someone in our community who would have us in mind and would be there to serve as our clients in the future. Yeah, and as that question went, what happens? An agent needs to be there. Don't buy life insurance. I tell people you can buy life insurance from a 1-800 number, but when you need service, your service is going to come from a 1-800 number.
Right.
But when you buy from a local agent of someone you know and trust, that's when our job really starts. When it's there's a claim, now it's the agent say, hey, okay, I got this. Don't worry, I got this. Well, we can call and do the follow-up. Well, what about this or that? What about the death certificate? What about this question that was answered? What about medical records? What about they said that they do this or that? We get to follow up and say, no, I was there. I talked to the client. It's been 2 years. Here are the laws. Here's how it functions. Pay the claim and pay it in a timely manner. So the agents also act as advocates for the clients too, because that's our job. That's when our job really begins.
That's good. That's real good. And Latosha just asked a financial question. She just mentioned, can stocks be left to family members in case of death?
Yes.
Good
always.
Question.
You can definitely leave stocks to family members. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Y'all keep the questions coming. Again, this is a wealth of knowledge right here, quote unquote, and it's up to us to ask. Ask and ye shall not receive.
So I have a question, Roy. During
Sure.
this stay in place, quarantine, pandemic,
Yeah.
a lot of people have been able to notice that they're able to save money. They're able to actually have a different balance that they've never seen before, because a lot of their expenses have been, cut out, or, you may have had an extra $200, $300, but when you go to Amazon or you go to this, sale, and then it's sitting in the closet, you're like, did I really need to buy anything? I don't need to shop anymore. So now that $300 that usually would go out has been stacked up for these past 7-8 months. And now they're thinking and looking, what do I do with this? How can I continue this to grow? I have an extra $3,000 to $4,000 I didn't have before, or it could be $1,000. What are some of the tips that you may want to give some of our listeners or some of our audience to say, this is what you may want to do with those quarantine coins?
Oh, great question, Melissa. Thank you. So I noticed that too. So with that first, let's say 90 days, 3-4 months, I noticed that I had more money in the account than I normally would with the same level of production. And that's because, from a business standpoint, I was always out traveling. So hundreds of dollars in, I guess, travel expenses. I was always picking up the tab for lunch dinner for myself, groups, my team. And that was, thousands of dollars a month. And so all this extra money was there. Now, in full disclosure, Amazon has claimed some of that money. Since then, they've claimed some of those dollars. But what we did was, when I had some time on my hand initially, I said, okay, now I have this extra time. My wife and I had been talking about just looking at our finances and doing a review, which we had not done in a while. And so I started pulling everything. I spreadsheeted everything and started looking at, like, what bills do we have? One, what expenses do we have? Credit card, debt. I started looking at everything. Now we're spending X amount in all these places. At that point, I would say start to scrutinize every bill that you have, and then look at every credit card. Look at interest payment. Look at the amount of debt that you have. Start looking at that, and then build a plan around that. So first thing we did, we looked at all of our bills. One of the things that we did during quarantine, we were able to cut the cord. So we got rid of cable. Our cable bill was about $260, $270 a month. We had all the frills, so we got rid of it. Got some little plan that gives us a lot of channels and all of these streaming services. So now I think we maybe pay with 4 services, maybe $60 a month or something like that. Mm-hmm. So we're saving over $200 a month on that alone. So that was one thing. We started looking at credit cards, some of the smaller cards that we carry balances on. I just pay those off, eliminate those payments, to set that aside. Some balances that I carry, just not paid any attention to, we paid those off. So when all those things happened, credit score shot up.
Right.
So score is up. I'm actually getting offers to increase my limits on my car. So I've actually picked up another car, just, a very good balance on it that's available to me for emergencies. That was offered to me just because of my credit score just jumped way back up again. Mm-hmm. And now we're just trying to just continue to save and build an emergency fund beyond where we already are. So I'm preparing for this next year, regardless of what happens with the election or the market, to have an emergency fund for my home and to maintain or to make sure that we continue to be financially stable as a business. So it's just finding small expenses, pay them off, cut the cable. If you're buying things that are not necessary, you may be able to save $500 a month in expenses. I'll tell you what, like we cut the cable, it was one. The second thing was my phone bill, mm-hmm. right? And this is just a straight consumer move. We were paying about $450 a month, a cell phone bill. And I'm like, this. I know this is couldn't be correct. So I look at the phone bill, didn't realize that I had paid off 2 or 3 of my phones and my iPad some time ago, but they were still continuing to charge me every month.
Wow.
So I called the company. I said, man, I paid this off. Why didn't it go away? They said, well, you have to call and tell us that you want to own it now. I said, I thought I owned it. Yeah, you just got to do a settlement. It'll be $75 per device. And like the $40 or $50 a month you were paying per device now goes away.
So where did they need to give you some money. Like, no.
They didn't give me nothing back. So they took off $150. And then they put me on. I said, well, what other savings are available to me? And they said, well, we'll give you another discount of $35 if you go on auto pay. I said, well, fine, let's do that. Mm-hmm. So I reduced almost $200 off of my cell phone bill now doing that. So that's like close to $400. So I did that with everything that I could look at or saying, babe, this doesn't make sense. What are we going to do about this? Any little thing that we could eliminate that didn't make sense, we did. I looked at auto insurance and, you know, where we can save money. Do we need to switch or keep the same? So yeah, it's just the little things that make a big difference.
Okay.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta go look at my bills now.
Yeah, man, don't
No,
look at
right?
your bills.
Wow.
And I think a lot of times, I think people, especially in the community, the Black community, when they hear financial planner, they hear financial planning, they hear, you know, budget and things of that nature. I think that they are intimidated by it. I think they are scared. I think it makes them, you know, go, well, whatever. Or I think they feel like, oh, well, I only work at such and such and such. I only bring home this amount of money. But
Right.
all of these things work together. My uncle used to tell me all the time, if you don't know how to take care of $20, you're not going to know how to take care of 200.
That's right.
So it is definitely good for us. And I want to kind of go into, what do you do or what do you propose for parents to start teaching our children? Because as you spoke of, you know, we came from humble beginnings. My mom, single parent, I don't know if you remember, she worked at Brockway, the glass factory down
Mhm.
there. And at the time, I'm in elementary, so I'm not really understanding the amount of money that my mom makes
Right.
to
Right.
take care of me and my little brother. And now that I'm an adult and I, you know, have a home, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I know it was the 80s, but still, like, are you
Yeah.
serious? So, my husband and I try to, you know, pass on what we learn, but we still learning ourselves. So, do you offer any type of financial planning or something that a parent can start with their children to start preparing them as they become adults?
Great question. So, and first, there are a lot of courses out there for that. I have a friend that she does that. But what we do here with our kids, and I'm still learning as we go too, because we're the probably the first generation to be financially okay to this point, and so we have our children. We're just trying to figure it out. One thing I talk to my kids about is money, the value of money. If anything, I would talk to them about credit. We talk to them now about credit and protecting your credit. What I will do once my son is going to college next year, I will put him on my credit card. I will give him my credit card and teach him how to manage money through my credit card. And I'll know what he's buying and give him an allowance every month through there. So he's learning about credit and if once he gets a job, say, hey, you have to pay your bill now or X amount. But teaching them the value of money and credit. Once they get a job, a professional job, I'm going to encourage them to go ahead and start saving right out of the gate. If you get in a 401k, go ahead, get that information. Say, listen, whatever they will match, always save up to the match at minimum. So if they're going to match 3%, then you need to save up to 3%. If you can do more, do 6%, do 10%, set that money aside. I tell people to do that, and I will encourage some of my kids and friends because, you know, all of us at some point probably started a job and said, well, listen, I don't like this job. I don't like these people here. I'm only going to be here a year, right? And you was there 5 or 10 years. And fortunate for you, they made you join the 401k. You get ready to leave the job. Now you got 10, 15, 20,000 sitting over in an account. Like, wow, this is awesome. I'm glad I saved, right? So we have to teach those habits to our kids. We built a foundation off of that too. And I've helped a lot of clients with that. A lot of our clients' money come from old 401ks, old 403bs. That's a starting point for an IRA or a rollover IRA, that 5, 10, 15, 20,000. So we have to just continue to save. But the kids, talk to them about money, talk to them about budgeting, not spending more than they have. We talk to our kids a lot about entrepreneurship and teach them about credit. I didn't know about credit coming out of college. I had a lot of credit card debt. I was a wreck. It took many years to recover from that. So, you know, we will teach that to our kids and expose them to what things cost and how to purchase them. So those type of lessons I would definitely say.
Okay.
It's real good. So look at it, fam. They're chiming in again. One of them actually just asked a very, very good question. Well, there's a couple of statements as well. One question came from Latosha, the business owner. She said, I own a cleaning service and a security team. We get paid a lot through Cash App and Venmo. Is this smart for payments, or do I need a more of a business type account and a payment deposit type account?
The Cash App and Venmo. So I would say this first, as a disclaimer, that's kind of not my expertise. Okay. In business, we're always encouraged to have a business account. I would encourage a business account so that there may be opportunities for you in the future in terms of business loans or people wanting to partner with you. And so when all of your things are in order from a business standpoint, that helps. But that's not my expertise. I would say talk to a CPA and ask them about that. What's the best way to manage those monies from day-to-day operations? For many years, my earlier years, I did my own taxes. Mm-hmm. And one year I did my tax and I said, ooh, that's a lot of money I owe. I ain't doing this no more. That's too much, right? So I called my buddy who's a CPA and he said, oh man, you forgot that deduction. You forgot this deduction. You forgot that. And so he fixed things like, okay, you only owe this. And then he went back and amended my taxes the other years and said, okay, now you don't owe anything because you left so much on the table. So I would get someone who that's their expertise, a great CPA. It may cost up front, but it pays for itself on the back end where they're doing your books quarterly or semi-annual. So they'll have the money in the right accounts. They'll separate the personal funds from the business funds, and they'll just put you in they'll allow you to see your money differently because this is allocated properly.
Very good. Definitely very good. Charlie Two's just commented as well as far as she said, yes, I've cut Sprint and T-Mobile out plenty of times behind that. She said, then do not be scared to ask what is the best plan and services that you'll need.
That's right.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, I had to go back and forth with them, but we got it right. I'm proud to say my bill is under $300 a month, and from $470.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, they would get me. It just didn't make any sense. I'm like, man, at what point does a phone bill become $500 a month?
Right.
You know, what makes sense? So, you know, let's talk. I guess we'll talk a little bit about investing. You know, people come to us and we can help you set up an IRA, a Roth, traditional IRA or Roth. I would recommend if you're setting up an IRA today, make it a Roth IRA. That will allow you to put money away tax-free, gross tax. You're using after-tax dollars, so the money grows tax-free, and you can withdraw the money in the future tax-free. So if you are going to invest, use a Roth. You can use an advisor. If you don't have access to an advisor or don't want to use an advisor, you can go to a TD Ameritrade and set up an account. And you can say, listen, I want to put away $100 a month. You know, you can pick a mutual fund or some type of fund and just start putting money away and start learning about how to invest. What an advisor does, we just streamline that process. We know exactly what to do. We can give you information along the way. Depending on the amount of assets that you have, that gives us more flexibility. You know, if you got $100 a month, well, you know, you're really just getting started. That's a mutual fund you can be in. Or if you got at least $5,000, there are certain funds that have a minimum of $2,500 to even be a part of that mutual fund. And so, you know, you got access. So if you got 25 or 50,000 or 100,000, okay, now we may buy some stocks for you and build a stock portfolio along with mutual funds, or we may create a managed account with you once you have a certain amount. And that's not just us managing the account. We use some of the professional management companies throughout the country. So let me just tell you what that really means. So, of course, we are insurance brokers, but as a financial advisory firm or RIA firm, what we do is we partner with some of the top companies in the U.S. One that we use is SEI. If you look up SEI, like they're one of the top financial companies in the world. Like here in Atlanta, they manage the pension for the city of Atlanta. They also, for Fulton County, matter of fact, not the city of Atlanta, but Fulton County. They also manage the pension for Mercedes-Benz. So when you invest with our firm, you're not like necessarily, we don't have your money sitting in our account and we're sitting there burning and turning, trying to find a good stock for you. We're the middleman, and we'll place your money with a company like SEI. That's Sam Edward Igloo, SEI. We'll place your money with a firm like that, help choose a managed portfolio, a plan that works best for you based upon your risk tolerance. And so given that scenario, the professional managers are there helping to manage your money. And as the market changes and shift, we're there to guide you to say, hey, it's time to be a little bit less aggressive while things are happening right now, or to be more aggressive. But your money's safe with us. When you invest in there, no guarantees, but we only use the top investment companies for investments. We also have access to American Funds or Vanguard. And then from insurance companies, we use A-rated companies and top companies in that regards, like an AIG or National Life Group.
Wow.
Okay. You offer a lot of the, I'm just going to say top shelf, where, you kind of have these different solicitations for financial advisors and programs. And so when you start wanting what you're offering with your firm, there's a cost. It's like, oh, well, these are our top businesses. So of course, we're going to have XYZ, and we're going to need you to pay da 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 da. And I've always just been turned off by that. I don't mind paying for service, but I do not like being taken advantage of either. And I don't care how great you sound and how nice your suit is. When it comes down to my money, I can't just
That's right.
over to you
That's
because
right.
you said so. So I feel that just by what you share with us tonight, and reading the bio, and we're going to post that on the page as well. I didn't want to post it because I didn't want everybody kind of read it and just be like, oh, it's another one. I really wanted them to be interested and intrigued by that.
Right.
And feel comfortable, like I said, especially with hearing what you're offering and seeing who you are. I just feel that you're going to get a lot of inquiries, from the show, because a lot of times people just don't know. It's a lot of people out there that's in your field, in your career, they're really slick. They got a quick tongue, and they just don't sound trustworthy at all.
That's true. Well, like I said, one of my mentors say it's impossible to know what you don't know. And the thing about it is, a few things are happening out here. So my firm, we are a true independent. So we get a chance to truly represent the client. I'm not, beholden to any particular company, and not to knock on any of those companies. I'm not an agent specific to any company. We're independent. We represent the client first, and then we place the client with the company that we feel best meets the needs of the client. Every client is going to be treated with respect, and again, because of I understand this, we don't have to charge the client upfront for information. When we do place a product, we are paid by the companies. They give us a commission every time we sell an insurance product or anytime we sell investments. So we are compensated in that way. And then again, we tell our clients the other way, we are compensated through referrals. So we don't have to take advantage of a client. We do a good job up front. A lot of our business comes from referrals.
Well, we got a couple more questions for you, brother.
Sure.
Looks like Terry, she's a business owner as well. And she mentioned as far as even though the consultation is free, well, it's two questions. Even though the consultation is free, what would the cost look like, say, over the course of a year? And then she also asked, as far as a business owner, she said, what advice would you give in terms of if insurance is cost effective up front, or should your revenue be at a certain point before you consider it?
Okay, great question. So consultation is free. There's not any additional cost. Again, if someone decides to do business with us, we're going to be compensated by the insurance companies or the investment companies. So one, insurance company pays its commission. And on investments, because we operate an RIA, registered investment advisory firm, we are considered a fiduciary. So that's the big thing in our industry now. Are you a fiduciary? We are. So we charge less than 2% on investments. And our actual take on is about 1%. So just to give you an idea, while a lot of the large firms won't take on African Americans or people who don't have a lot of money at the time, you got to imagine we get paid 1% on the assets. So you got to think, even if someone is bringing over $10,000, it seems, and it's a significant amount of money, what's 1% of 10,000? Yeah, it's not a lot. So, but we're still willing to work with you, do comprehensive planning. And as long as we're getting referrals, we're doing other business with you, we're still able to have a profitable relationship, both for the client, for the company, and for us. So it is okay. A lot of companies have a minimum of 100,000 to even work with you, because on a profit margin of 1% on what we call managed assets, that's how you make money. Mm-hmm. And just being transparent, as a fiduciary, we only make money when the asset grows. So we're managing, let's say, $10 million as a firm. If we grow our revenues to 12 million or 15 million, that's annual revenue. So we're attached to the growth. So we're not going to charge the client anything outside of what we do. We're just going to ask that you stick with us. We're going to stick with you and build together. Now, the second half of the question was in terms of life insurance. Regardless of where you're at, there's a life insurance plan for you. To give an example, I'm in my 40s, I'm 45. You can get $1 million term policy for less than $100 a month. I mean, people don't know that, but it's very inexpensive. If you're in decent health, $1 million term policy can be purchased for $100 a month, which is, anything happens to me, my family gets $1 million because I'm paying $100 a month. I also carry some permanent coverage as well. So I carry a combination of the two, but there's nowhere else where you can write a check for $100 and purchase $1 million of future dollars if something happens.
I'm glad you said the perm and term, because some people like to toggle over which one is better. And me personally, I think you need a combination. I just feel you need a combination.
Yeah, that, I tell people, the folks who want to debate what's the best coverage is the one that's in force when you die. That's the best coverage.
Right.
In terms of the two, it just all depends on your situation. You take someone in their 40s or 50s, has a family, a home, lots of responsibility, and you say, well, in that case, someone may only believe in whole life. Well, $100,000 or $200,000 whole life policy doesn't do a lot in that scenario. If you die, only replaces your income for a year or two. In that scenario, you want term insurance. In my scenario, I have term insurance. So if anything happens, all of that money still is available to my family. Now they say, well, what about permanent insurance? Well, eventually that 20-year term policy goes away. When that 20-year policy goes away, my house is paid for. my kids' college is taken care of. They're out of school. We've saved $1 million, so I no longer need it. But if I still are in the process of having a business, or I need to settle my estate, that permanent cash policy allows me to use it as an asset. I can borrow from it for business. There's so many things I can still do because I have that policy. A lot of people only buy term, and I've heard that, buy term, invest the difference. But if we never ever get around to investing the difference because the assets are just not available in our community, we get to a certain age, now we don't qualify for life insurance,
Right.
because now we got diabetes, hypertension, and all these things. And there's no way to leave a legacy to our families of 100 or 200,000 through life insurance because we no longer qualify.
Right.
So, it just all depends.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. Hey, Money, you up there pontificating, thinking about it?
Man, I'm sitting up here taking notes and
Yeah,
everything.
he on the
I'm
writing.
just amazing.
He got a notepad.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I have a
absolutely.
question.
Mr. Richardson,
Sure.
though.
About it.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Money. Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
No, I just had a quick question. Talking about us in our 40s and 50s, a lot of us are now starting to have to experience the role of taking care of our parents. If not
Yes.
taking care of them, but kind of overseeing them. Is there any
Sure.
type of product out there that can assist with children who may not so much are primary caretakers, but still need some assistance with the parents?
Sure. So there are things out there for that. What we do and what we're able to assist with in our business, a couple of things, like when your parents get a certain age or have health issues or health conditions, one, from a life insurance standpoint, they may not qualify for traditional life insurance, so they get turned down and then just don't feel like they qualify for insurance anymore. But there are senior products that we sell, final expense insurance products, which will most everybody qualify for if they're senior. We got a company that would take 98% of the people who apply. That way, if they die prematurely, at least there's a $10,000 or $15,000 policy there to bury them, and you're not stuck holding the bag on that. Two, if they're in good health and they still qualify for insurance with one of the companies that offers life insurance to the masses, or one of the I guess what you call traditional companies, then those policies can have live-in benefits built into them, like a long-term care rider. So if your parents ever have a long-term care need or disability need, they can access that money from the life insurance policy to use for long-term care or disability. So there are some things we can do as riders. We can build into a life insurance policy. So the policies today that you have, you don't have to die to use them.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Very good.
Good.
Very good.
Go ahead, Money.
Now this is a different question. This is kind of one of those urban legends. I don't know if it's true or not.
Come on with it.
Now, can you take out a life insurance on somebody without their knowledge?
I believe at some point you could, but most cases, and there may be a few companies out there doing, but most cases you cannot. They have to be involved. I think companies used to allow that way back when. They would allow people to take out a policy on someone they didn't really know they had it. But today, in the information age and transparency, they have to know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody wanted me to ask that question. I'm gonna leave them anonymous.
Leave them anonymous.
You don't get caught up in that, bro.
But you need to be creative if that's what you're going to do. That's all we're going to say. You need to be creative.
When it's situations like that, you want to find a company that asks very, very few medical questions. That way, that person who that you're trying to insure said, "Listen, I'm getting insurance on you. I just need to ask you a few questions. Name, date of birth, social, and do you have these 2 or 3 diseases? No. All right. I'm getting coverage on you. I'm gonna get the agent on the phone. You just say yes, yes, and yes, and you're good. You don't have to do nothing else. I'm gonna pay for it. So I have people do that. At least they're aware of it. But when you're trying to get coverage on someone the traditional way, and you got to do a paramedic exam, and you asking 30 questions, they like in a big policy. They're like, "What, you trying to kill me or something?" So make sure it's a small policy, just enough to bury them to do a little bit for you. But don't go jump and get no really big policy and asking a lot of questions. They look at that as a better. I've been there before, so I get that question. So that's a question we hear often. So don't feel bad.
And I'm just gonna put this on a side note, ladies, pay attention. If you have children by a man, regardless of whether he is in your home or not, in jail or not, working or not, you should have a life insurance policy by that man who has children. So when we are talking about this situation, I'm not saying be sneaky, but you need to have that, because there's so many of you that are having a child or children by a man or men, and there's nothing for your children at all if that person was to expire.
I agree. If the relationship is good, please encourage him to get some life insurance on himself to protect the kids. So just, I agree with that 100%.
Good shot. Shouts out to Kanye Parker, Dina Renee, and Anthony Craig and Mahogany. The BT. All of them has joined in, and they've just been waving and just listening.
Hey guys.
And enjoying the research. This has really been informative and a blessing. But before we go, because time is coming short, we need to get as much information. We need to share this with the masses so they can come check you out, ask further questions, and actually, hopefully, they're going to become good, loyal customers from you as well. So as we go in, please share that information with them, brother.
All right. So again, my name is Royce Richardson. You can, and our company is EIAT Wealth Management. You can find us on Facebook. We have a professionally managed Facebook page. You can also go to our website, which is www.EIAT Wealth Management. There's an office line, 866-526-6201. Again, 866-526-6201. Or feel free to call me directly or text me. So 404-840-3194. That's my cell phone number. Again, 404-840-3194. Feel free to text me or inbox me through Messenger or on social media. And then I'll reach back out to you or I have one of my agents reach out to you. I have a total of about 20 agents who work with my firm. So in some cases, you're working with me, and some scenarios I'm referring you to one of my agents, but I do see everything, and I am a part of, plans that I refer. I ask them to report back to me on that, so I'll know what's going on with them. So I would still be a part of that process.
And we're going to post his bio on the page as well, so that information will also be posted on our page. So family, please reach out, share this podcast. I know a lot of you guys are going to now rewatch it so you can take your notes. It's kind of hard when you're listening and it's live and you're going in, but I know this one will be reviewed and shared a lot, especially to our community. We need this information. We need this type of knowledge, and we need to execute, because we get a lot of information and you still sit, idle. You need to execute and make a move so you can have the legacy and the financial generational wealth for your children and your family and your future.
Absolutely. Well, before we do in this production, I want to say thank you, Melissa, A Money, CD. I appreciate y'all inviting me on. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a great just conversation. this is in line with my purpose to share information with my community and to be able to help in any way I can. So this is certainly an alignment, and I appreciate this sitting.
Well, thank
Hey,
you
the
for
pleasure has been
accepting the
all
invite.
ours.
Yes,
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 indeed. Yes, indeed. Very
yes.
informative. Blessing indeed.
Hashtag build that wealth.
That's right.
There you go.
That's
Hashtag
it.
leaving a legacy. That's what's up. So, family, unfortunately, it's that time in which we all do not like, in which we must say goodbye. But we ask that you, if you get a chance, watch the show again, share it again. As A Money would enjoy, tell your mom and them, your daddy and them, your
And
grandma and them, all
Auntie
them.
now.
Yeah, auntie them,
That's
cousin
you.
down the street, don't
That's
bring them
you.
to the cookout. Yeah, all them.
all of them.
Because generational wealth and wealth management and us knowing more about what we have access to is very important. So
That's right. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
So family, that's it for us. Again, share this, get a chance to watch it again. If you have any questions, you know where we are. We'll be back hopefully next Wednesday with another informative and a blessing to the podcast show. It's the People's Podcast. Y'all stay tuned.
Bye,
We
family.
may do some music. Nah, we ain't gonna do music too. We out. Y'all be good.
We out. Bye.
All right.